Now moving up the ladder to the next level, we have seen the videos, we have understood how the activities for early movers are conducted. Now let us see videos on how the activities for sports focus is conducted.
Activity execution. Mark a rectangular play area using marking cones. Make a circle in the center using saucer cones and place 5 bean bags on top of 1 saucer cones. Place 2 saucer cones in front of each team. Divide the class into 4 teams and ask 2 teams to stand facing each other. For demonstration, we are using 2 groups of 6 students. Ask if the students are familiar with the game Lagori. Explain that Lagori is an Indian game that involves knocking down 7 stones. For demonstration, we are using 5 bean bags. Give a fleece ball to 1 team. 1 student will attempt to knock the bean bags from 10 feet away by throwing the fleece ball and trying to knock down the bean bags. The other team members can stand around the circle. Every student will get 3 chances to knock the bean bags, or the chance goes to the next person in the team. If the opposite team catches the ball, then that student is out and the next student in the team continues to try and knock down the bean bags. Once the beanbag is hit by the offensive team, they should try and rearrange it. The defense team goal is to prevent them from arranging the beanbags by tagging them with a fleece ball. Running with the ball is not allowed. If a team member runs with the ball, it is considered a foul. Insist that the students pass the ball to tag the opposition players. If a team member is tagged, then that team is out and the game restarts.
Lesson S 2.25 Basketball, Bouncing, Dribbling and Passing. Activity 1 Jump over and bounce and dribble. Activity execution: lay the rope on the ground in a U shape, leaving a 5 feet gap between the rope. Position 2 spot markers at one end and 2 on the other end as the starting points for the groups. Divide the students into 4 groups. Assemble them at the designated starting points. All the groups at each end will start facing each other. Provide each group with 5 basketballs. Upon your signal start, the first student in each group begins by bouncing the ball on the right hand side and catching it and jumping over the rope on the left side. Again bounces the ball on the left, catches and jumps on the right side. Likewise, they will keep bouncing, jumping till they reach the other starting point. The sequence continues as the student progresses towards the opposite group. Alternate jumps and bounce passes. In short, ask the children to see the person coming from the front in order to dodge them and not to bump into them. After everybody has completed their turn, now they will dribble with one hand. Dribble, catch and jump. Dribble, catch, jump. Dribble, catch, jump. And continue the activity. If you find that the 4 groups are having difficulty in terms of space, then you can increase the distance between the ropes.
Lesson S 3.27 Football, passing, receiving and shooting. Activity 1, shoot at the goal. Activity execution. Place 2 poly spots 15 feet apart at the starting line and place 2 footballs on the poly spot. Place marking cones at a distance of 15 feet from the football and 2 arrow markers at each of the marking cones, one on the left and one on the right. Place pop-up goalpost, training arch or flexi pole with modified base in between the 2 poly spots. Use the arrow curved marker for the direction of the ball movement and shooting. Divide the class into groups of 5 and assemble them at the starting line with the ball. The position group to the right side of the goal post should receive the ball with the inside part of their foot and take a shot on the right leg towards the goal post. The group positioned on the left of the goal post should receive the ball with the outside part of their foot and take a shot on the left leg towards the goal post. On your signal, the first student will be the shooter in each group, will run towards the marking cones and take a shot at the goal. The second student in the group passes the ball to the shooter at the goal post immediately after receiving the ball on the assigned side of the foot. Then collects the ball and joins the back of the group. Then the next student continues the activity. Once all students have completed shooting one side, change the group to the next side. For example, the group on the right side of the goal post will go on the left and the group on the left side of the goal post will go to the right. To make things more challenging, change the directions of the arrow for the shooter to move the ball in that direction to shoot. The trainer can switch arrows in both directions while the play is on. Lesson S 3.27 Football, Passing, Receiving and Shooting. Activity 2 The Shooter vs Flyer. Activity Execution. Mark a circle play area 10 feet in diameter using saucer cones. Show the students how to mark the radius in diameter in feet with a measuring tape. From the center, mark a radius of 10 feet from one side. Show them how with a size 6 shoe they can mark a 10 feet radius approximately. Place saucer cones in line with the others to make a circle. Divide the class into group of 6. 2 groups play the shooter game with each other in the circle. For demonstration purposes, we have 3 students inside the circle and 3 outside the circle. Group 1 is the shooter. They will be positioned around the circle with one ball. Group 2 is the flyer. They will be positioned inside the circle. The shooter's goal is to shoot the ball at the flyer's legs below the knees. If the ball is shot above the knee, stop the game and ensure the rule is followed. The flyer should avoid getting hit. If the ball hits the flyer's leg, they join the shooter's team and the game continues. The flyer who remains last without getting hit will be named best flyer of the game, and the shooter who shoots the highest hits will be named the best shooter of the game. Swap roles and continue the game.
Lesson S 3.30 Handball Passing and Receiving Warm-up Activity, Pass and Run Back to Home. Activity Execution. Divide the students into groups of 8 and give a ball to each group. Ask the groups to form a circle, maintaining 2 to 3 feet distance from each other. On trainer's command, the first student passes the ball to the next student on their left with one hand and runs around the circle back to their place to receive the ball. Ask the students to reach their place before the ball does. After completing the one round, he hands the ball with both hands to the next person, and the next person passes the ball to the student on their left to continue the activity. Vary the activity by changing the direction clockwise and anti-clockwise. Make it more interesting. Lesson S 3.30 Handball Passing and Receiving. Activity 1 Dribble, Pass and Finish. Activity Execution. Mark a start and end line 25 feet apart using polyspots and place 5 hula hoops from the start line towards the end line 4 feet apart. Divide the class into groups of 5 and assemble at the start line with a ball. On your signal, the first student dribbles the ball to the first hula hoop and passes it with one hand to the next student in the group. The second student dribbles it to the second hoop and passes it to the first student, who then passes it to the starting line to continue the activity. The fifth student dribbles the ball to the last hoop and passes it back to the fourth, third, second to the first student. The first student then dribbles the ball to the end line poly spot and passes it to the fifth student, who again passes it back through all the players up till the last person. Last person who received the ball dribbles it back to the end line and stands in front of the line. The group that finishes all passes and reaches the end line first is the winner.
Lesson S 3.31 Handball, Dribble, Pass and Shoot. Activity 1 Dribble, Pass and Shoot. Activity Execution. Mark a start and end line 25 feet apart using poly spots. Place a poly spot and balance beam at 8 feet distance from the starting line and 2 marking cones 4 feet distance as goalposts 10 feet from the second poly spot. Divide the students into groups of 5 and assemble them at the starting line with a handball. Nominate one student to stand at the end line. On your signal, the first student dribbles the ball till the poly spot and performs a passing and receiving with the next student in the group. The student should step on the balancing beam with the same leg while holding the ball above their head. Take 3 steps before shooting the ball to the target. Simultaneously, the student at the end moves towards the target and collects the ball. The first student is then positioned at the end line, and the student who collected the ball goes to the start line and hands over the ball to the next student in the group and joins the back of the line. The activity continues until everyone gets a chance to dribble, pass and shoot. Lesson S 3.31 Handball, Dribble, Pass and Shoot. Activity 2 The Offense versus Defense. Activity Execution. Mark 2 starting lines with poly spots at 25 feet distance. Place a goal post using split cones with flexi poles or marking cones at 5 feet distance in front of each group. Position 2 marking cones 6 feet apart horizontally at 12 feet distance between the starting lines. Divide the class into groups of 5 and assemble them at the starting line facing each other. Give a handball to any one group and explain that the student with the ball is called the attacker, while the one without the ball is called the defender. On your signal, the attacker dribbles the ball towards the marking cone, and simultaneously the defender from the opposite group runs towards the marking cone. Upon reaching the marking cone, the attacker decides which cone they have to touch before taking a shot towards the opponent's goal post. The defender should touch the opposite cone and try to screen the attacker. Tip for the defender: he or she should try and move to the opposite cone as soon as they see the attacker trying to touch the cone. The defender and attacker switch to the opposite teams after completing the task, and the ball goes to the other group with the attacker. The activity continues until everyone gets a chance to shoot. Lesson S 3.15 Track and Field Basic Jumping. Activity 1 Color and Rope Jump. Activity Execution. Place the rope in a U shape on the ground and position a color saucer cone, red and yellow, on both sides at the end of the rope. Divide the students into two groups and ask them to stand on one side of the rope. On your call red, the students will jump to the side where the red color cone is placed. On your call yellow, the students will jump to the side where the yellow cone is placed. On your call red and yellow, the students will jump and land vertically and land with one leg on either side of the rope. After a few minutes of play, have the students look at the color shown by you and jump accordingly. If the students are standing on the same color, they don't have to move at all. To make it interesting, ask the students to jump to the opposite side of the color shown. Lesson S 3.15 Track and Field Basic Jumping. Activity 2 Jumping Pattern. Activity Execution. Divide the class into 6 groups and assign stations to each group: 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6 respectively. Station 1, Group 1 and 2. Mark a circular play area using polyspots and ask one group to stand in the circle and a group 2 to stand outside the circle respectively. The group 1 and 2 students stand alternatively inside the circle. Nominate a leader and ask the students to follow the leader's command. The leader will give commands like 2-2, which means 2-foot takeoff, 2-foot landing. 2-1, 2-foot takeoff, 1-foot landing. 1-2, 1-foot takeoff, 2-foot landing. The leader can call out the number 2-2, 2-1, 1-2, and the group must follow the commands and jump accordingly. Group 1 will jump and land inside, and group 2 will jump and land outside as per the leader's command. After jumping, the students have to walk back or jog back to their spots. Station 2, Group 3 and 4, horizontal jump. Mark 2 starting points using polyspots at 15 feet distance. Create a running path from the starting point using saucer cones, 2 parallel lines 4 feet distance and 5 feet long. Place the polyspots horizontally at one end of the parallel line. Ask groups 3 and 4 to stand at the starting point. On your signal, the first student from each group make an approach run, take off from the polyspot, 1-foot takeoff and 2-foot landing, and then go stand at the back of their line. Station 3, Group 5 and 6, horizontal and vertical. Mark 2 starting points using polyspots and place 3 hula hoops at a distance of 4 feet each from the starting point for each group. Assemble the students in the starting point. The students have to perform vertical, horizontal and vertical jumps on the first, second and third hoops respectively. On your signal, the students will perform the jumps on the hoops and go back and stand at the back of the line. Rotate the groups and continue the activity. Make sure all the students have a chance to perform at all the jumping activities. Lesson S 4.26 Track and Field Sprinting. Activity 1 Chase or Escape. Activity Execution. Mark 2 parallel lines 30 feet apart using saucer cones. Mark 2 parallel lines in the middle of the play area with a 5 feet distance between them using polyspots. Divide the class into 2 equal groups and position them on either side of the central lines. The trainer will spin a marking cone onto the ground in the center of both groups. After the cone lands, the groups closest to the bottom of the cone, as indicated by its position, chases the group closest to the top of the cone. The runners attempt to escape being tagged by crossing the end parallel line towards their group. Repeat the game for 2 to 3 rounds, awarding points for successfully tags made in each round. Cognitive flexibility, response shifting. Ask the students to do the opposite to the marking cone position. Example, the group position towards the top point now chases the opposite group. To make it more challenging, toss 2 colored cones, red and yellow, and ask the students to follow the direction of any one of the colored cones. Lesson S 4.26 Track and Field Sprinting. Activity 2 Sprint Drills. Activity Execution. Mark 2 stations in the play area using marking cones and saucer cones. Station 1. Jump the river relay. Groups 1, 2 and 3. Mark 3 starting points and end points 25 feet apart using marking cones. Mark a parallel line horizontally 5 feet apart at the center between the start and end line using saucer cones. Station 2. Mark 3 starting points and end points at a distance of 25 feet using marking cones. Place a marking cone 8 feet from the starting cone as the acceleration zone. Place another cone 8 feet from the acceleration cone as the changeover zone. Divide the students into 6 equal groups. Ask group 1, 2 and 3 to perform the sprinting, leaping activities in station 1. Group 4, 5 and 6 perform the relay baton exchange drills at station 2. Assemble the groups at the starting line of station 1. Each group lines up and the first student prepares for the sprint in a standing start position. Upon the student's command, on your mark, set, the first student stands in line and positions on go, sprints towards the end line and leaps over the imaginary ribbon. After leaping over, they touch the cone at the end point and sprint back to the starting line. Meanwhile, the second student in line positions themselves on the starting line to the next student command before the first student reaches the group. When the first student reaches the group, the second student then starts their sprint upon the command go. The process continues until all the students in the group have completed the relay. Each group aims to finish the relay as quickly as possible. Station 2, Pass Baton Exchange Relay. Groups 4, 5 and 6. Assemble groups 4, 5 and 6 at the starting line of Station 2. For demonstration, we are using two groups. Give a relay baton to the second student in each group, known as the incoming runner. Ask the first student in each group to stand at the acceleration zone as the outgoing runner, looking back over their shoulders at the incoming runner. Upon the command on your mark, set, from the next student in line, the incoming runner prepares in a standing start position. When the command go is given, the incoming runner sprints towards the outgoing runner. The outgoing runner begins jogging slowly towards the changeover zone while keeping an eye on the incoming runner. As the incoming runner approaches, the outgoing runner attempts to exchange the baton smoothly within the changeover zone. Once the baton is exchanged, the outgoing runner sprints towards the end line and then back to the group. The second student, who was the incoming runner, now positions themselves at the acceleration zone for the next relay. The relay continues with the next student in line following the same commands. Each group aims to complete the relay with fast and smooth baton exchanges. Once all the groups have completed an activity in a station, rotate them to the next station. Example, groups in station 1 will move to station 2 and groups in station 2 will move to station 1. Lesson S 4.27 Track and Field Long and High Jump. Activity 1 The Jumpers vs Catchers. Activity Execution. Mark a rectangular play area measuring 30 feet by 25 feet using marking cones. Ask the students to assemble in the play area. Pair up the students, assigning one pair as the long jumper with the ball and the next student as the catcher with the marking cone. Ensure there is at least 4 feet distance between the long jumper and the catcher. Make similar setups based on the size of your class. The catcher can increase the distance from the long jumper to challenge them. The long jumper throws the ball to the catcher from their initial position. The catcher attempts to catch the ball with a marking cone. If the ball is caught successfully, the catcher places it on the ground and challenges the long jumper to reach the ball within a specified number of jumps called out by them. The long jumper attempts to reach the ball within the designated number of jumps. If the catcher fails to catch the ball with a marking cone, the long jumper can decide the number of jumps to reach the ball. After 3 attempts, swap roles, with the long jumper becoming the catcher and vice versa, and continue the game with the new roles. After both the long jumper and catchers have had 3 attempts each, instruct the catcher to place the ball on top of the marking cone. Then ask them to hold it over the head and announce that the long jumper now be referred to as the high jumper. The high jumper then attempts to jump and tap the ball placed on the top of the marking cone. After a few attempts, swap the roles and continue the activity. Lesson S 4.27 Track and Field Long and High Jump Activity 2 Long and High Jump Practice Activity Execution. The long jump pit should be marked in the mud or artificial turf play area and not on a basketball court or hard surface. If your school has a long jump pit, use it for group 1 and 2. To set up the long jump pit, mark a starting line runway with saucer cones and place 4 poly spots horizontally in a row as a takeoff board at a distance of 12 feet from the starting point. Then mark a landing sector with a length of 8 by 6 feet using saucer cones starting 3 feet away from the takeoff board. Create a high jump stand using the top split marking cone to fix the flexi poles vertically. Then use the joining clips to fix the flexi poles horizontally to create a crossbar, starting by fixing the crossbar below the knee level to increase the height as per the student's ability to jump over it. Divide the students into 4 equal groups. Ask group 1 and 2 to perform the long jump in the designated long jump pit and group 3 and 4 to perform high jumps using the high jump pole and crossbar. Make similar setups based on the size of your class. Group 1 and 2 long jump practice. For demonstration, we are using 2 groups. Ask the students to run and take off from the takeoff board and land safely on the landing sector. Make sure the students follow the proper take-off and landing techniques, which include taking off on one foot on or before the take-off board and landing with 2 feet inside the landing sector. Ensure that they step on or before the poly spot while taking off. Group 3 and 4 Scissor High Jump. Group 3 and 4 perform the high jump using 2 similar setups. Safety: use a jumping signal, red color cone or a paddle, not to start the approach run, and green color to start the approach run. The children may not proceed to jump until you have given a signal. Ask them to assemble at 10 feet distance from the high jump bar and ask them to approach the crossbar in a curved path. Then form a scissor high jump. Ensure the students land safely in the landing sector. If the students are comfortable with the height, then you can increase it to make it more challenging. Scissor jump. To perform a successful high jump, it is recommended to approach the bar in a curved rather than straight line. When you reach the bar, take off with a strong foot and execute a high jump by lifting both legs in the front. Make sure to land facing the same direction as you approach run. For example, if you take off with your right foot, lead it with scissor over the bar with the legs lifted in front. Then land on both feet facing the same direction as your body. Remember to increase the height to make it more challenging.